Anandaji's blessing to Swami Madhavanandaji. May you be blessed with God realization, and he was definitely blessed through the prayers of Swami Turiyananda and his will. Swami Turiyananda was a God realized person whom Sri Ramakrishna recognized as the yogi of the Gita. Whatever in Gita is spoken about the yoga and yogi, that is all revealed in his life. And Sri Ramakrishna could recognize that at a tender age, at not very old age, when he was in 20s, when he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. What is meditation? Meditation is becoming vast. Meditation is a connector that connects our littleness to the vastness. Meditation is transformation from smallness to huge. As it is said in the Upanishads, real happiness is in vastness. Bhumaiva Sukham. How vast? Infinite. You will be blissful only when you are infinite. Because we are vast, we are infinite. Somehow we have forgotten. We are deluded to think we are limited and small and separate. However, we are in reality one with all. We are whole. We are not a part of this existence. We are existence itself. Meditation helps to make us whole again, to make us infinite again. It removes our ignorance and grants us light. That's why through meditation also we can go from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge. This mind of ours, which is the source of so many troubles and so many weaknesses, like jealousy, hatred, greed, fear. This very mind is also a great blessing to make us and reach us at the door of God. To reach God, as we heard, needs God's blessing. But mind makes us to knock at the door of God. And knock and it shall be opened. God will open when we knock. But to take us to the door of God, we need mind to train. There are 5 kinds of mind, says the yoga. One is restless, that is always traveling from one object to other, moving through through one desire to other. That's called kshipta mind in Sanskrit. Kshipta, restless, ordinary mind, like a child. It never is quiet at one place, always moving from one thing to other, always desiring from one object to another. That is very common, we experience that. There is another state of the mind called mudha or dull. This is lazy, dull, sleepy. The mind that goes through tension to depression is a dull mind. When we are tired and can't think anything, that is the dullness of the mind. That's called mudha, unfit for meditation, as was the restless mind. The third kind of mind or mental state is called vikshipta, preoccupied. It is occupied with some subject, some idea, occupied with some liking, and focused on that. Such is definitely a higher mind than kshipta and mudha. The mind of scientists, scholars, philosophers, thinkers is preoccupied mind. They have to put all effort in that, and mind is occupied with that sort of idea. But that is also not meditation. To meditate on God, on Brahman, we need to have fourth kind of mind called ekagra or concentrated mind. This is the pure mind where will is separate from desires. Will trying to connect with the Atman. That is the concentrated mind of the scriptures, of the yoga, ekagra. The ekagra mind is developed through pure life and pure thought, through the practice of continence. It is a special type of awareness that connects with us with the divine. It is not just simple concentration on an object, but connecting to the divine. We need ekagra manas. When our whole subtle body becomes luminous, when mind becomes ekagra and is easily focused and moves towards God and has the capacity to retain the idea of divine all the time. This is a spiritual mind, advanced mind in spirituality. We need to develop the ekagra mind. That can be done through practice of vyasa vairagya, practice and renunciation. Today we will try to meditate on a divine form. I didn't tell about the fifth state of the mind. That is called niruddha manas. That is, the mind has shut down. There are no ripples, there are no vrittis. It has merged to the divine. Niruddha. When one attains that, the mind becomes no mind. Person attains jnana, atma jnana, or nirvikalpa samadhi. That is the goal. When one becomes whole, when one transcends the samsara, let us try to meditate and find out which state our mind is, and then practice day by day to raise the state of our mind so that it reaches the state of niruddha, or when mind can be shut down, to reach the highest, transcendent, to reach the ultimate, supreme state of our true self through the practice of concentration, that is purity of thought, purity of our life. Let us try to meditate. First, those who are watching online or are present in this prayer hall, please try to sit erect. Close your eyes and take deep breaths and exhale. Let us practice this Nadi Shuddhi, or deep breathing, for some time. Please inhale slowly, fill in the lungs, and then immediately, slowly in the same pace, exhale. Don't retain the breath inside, otherwise it becomes pranayama. We don't want to do pranayama. We want to do Nadi Shuddhi, to purify the nerves and the brain. Let us begin. Deep breathing. Let us now repeat Om for 10 times. Please join me in repeating the most sacred sound, Om, 10 times in prolonged way. Om. Chanting, please feel that everything within you and outside you is purified, and your mind is purified, your body is purified. Body is ready to sit for meditation. Mind is purified to practice meditation. Whole room is purified by this sacred sound Om. Let us do now 10 times. Please join me. Now let us resolve that I will not allow this mind to waver, to become kshipta or restless. I will put it as guided to the object of meditation. Feel yourself as if you are alone and looking at the vastness of the sky. Pure, untouched by anything. That is the sky, and that is our being, free from the worldliness. Momentary it may come, but it cannot stain our true being. Try to feel that you are a vast space. In that space are the planets and the stars, everything within you. Now imagine all the planets and stars and galaxies are all dissolved. Nothing is there, no object. What remains is that infinite space of consciousness. That you are Tattvamasi. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman is Satya, existence. It is Jnanam. It is consciousness. It is Anantam. It is infinite without boundary, limitless, formless, just existence, blissful, conscious existence, uncreated, unchanging, everlasting, pure awareness. That is our true nature. I am that Brahman. Everything that I perceive with the senses is perceived within me. This body and mind, those are within me. That Brahman, still infinite stillness, that calmness, that is called Brahman or Shiva or Paramatma. And there is creation in that awareness. That's called Shakti. That's called Maya. Brahman and Maya. Shiva and Shakti are one. They are not two. Sri Ramakrishna says, when it creates, sustains and absorbs, the same reality is called Shakti. When it is without creation, it is perceived without creation, it is Brahman. It is not possible for our mind, which is limited, to hold and think of infinite Brahman. We can think of finite. We cannot even think of all-pervading infinite Shakti. For the sake of worship and meditation, that's why the Shakti and Brahman are meditated upon, Shiva and Kali. We will meditate today on the form of Shakti or Brahman as Mother Kali. worshipping God through whom we can attain our true nature. We can transcend the worldliness. We can become whole again. We can attain that fullness which we are. The Divine Mother Kali will grant us by our love for her, meditation on her, worship of her. Visualize the image of Kali living, standing on the chest of Shiva, the Kali, the dark one. Having the girdles of arm on her waist and garland of skull hanging from her neck, having the 4 arms, on the left 2 arms, upper one wielding a sword, lower one holding a decapitated head, right arms, the upper one, saying, "Be fearless," lower one, fulfilling our wishes. Face, large eyes, radiant, beautiful, smiling, tongue sticking out, held by white tooth, white set of teeth. Wearing garlands and a crown, and radiant. This is the Divine Mother, representation of the supreme power of Brahman. Brahman herself, Brahman itself, creating this universe of infinite number of planets and stars and galaxies and solar systems, is represented by this figure of Mother Kali. The world is experienced when we are under the domain of Shakti. Shakti is inseparable with Shiva. Shiva is lying at the feet of Shakti, the blissful one, undisturbed, meditative, ultimate source, non-creative, the fair complexion, that Shiva lying at the feet of Shakti or Mother Kali, like a corpse, like a dead body, but not dead body, living consciousness solidified to a form, blissful, peaceful, creating through his power, Shakti. Without Shakti, Shiva cannot create. Shakti cannot work without Shiva. Shiva and Shakti, they are the reality. Let us meditate on this form of Mother Kali as we see in the Dakshineshwar temple where Sri Ramakrishna prayed, meditated and had the vision of living Divine Mother, breathing, eating, walking, talking, wearing a Banarasi sari, beautiful to look at. Her sword represents the Jnana Khadga for a devotee. Spiritual seeker, the sword is to cut the bondage of ignorance so that we get light of knowledge. The head is the obstacle on the path of our spirituality. Mother will remove those obstacles, disturbed mind, other difficulties in life, all will be removed by her grace, by her Jnana Khadga, and she will grant us our prayers, boon, and make us fearless. I am there, your mother, your eternal mother. You will achieve what you have been seeking through life after life, in this life itself. Be fearless, says the mother, Mother Kali. She is our protectress, granter of boons, our solace in difficult times, to whom we can share our joys, for she is living presence. Mother has the garland of skulls, 50 skulls, each representing a sound of Sanskrit alphabet. Mother is all knowledge and love and success in our spiritual endeavor. Let us meditate on this divine form of the Brahman, of the Shakti, for about 5 minutes. Visualize first, let's begin with radiant form of Shiva. Bow down at his feet. And now meditate on the Divine Mother, another aspect of same Shiva. Visualize her lotus feet, dark in color. Offer flowers to that lotus feet which is standing, one on the Shiva, one on the ground. Touch those feet. and offer your salutation in prostration. Then look at her, sit at a place, and look her form, radiant, her face shining, with joy to find her sons and daughters come to her, seeking what she loves most, the spiritual awareness, the knowledge and devotion. She grants worldly wishes too, but spiritual gives her the best. She loves that. See her face, benign, graceful eyes, the long disabled hair, let us meditate on this form of Shiva and Shakti now. Now, slowly open your eyes. I would like to read to you what Sri Ramakrishna said about Mother Kali. Mother has revealed everything to me. I wept before the mother and prayed, "O Mother, please tell me, please reveal to me what the yogis have realized through yoga and the jnanis through the discrimination." And the Mother has revealed everything to me. She reveals everything if the devotee cries to her with a yearning heart. She has shown to me everything that is in the Vedas, the Vedanta, the Puranas, and the Tantra. The Divine Mother revealed to me in the Kali temple that it was she who had become everything. She showed me that everything was full of consciousness. The image was consciousness. The water was consciousness. The altar was consciousness. The water vessels were consciousness. The door sill was consciousness. The marble floor was consciousness. All was consciousness living. I found everything inside the room so as it were in bliss, the bliss of Satchidananda. I saw a wicked man in front of the Kali temple, but in him also I saw the power of the Divine Mother vibrating. That was why I fed a cat with the food that was to be offered to the Divine Mother. I clearly perceived that the Divine Mother herself had become everything, even the cat. The manager of the temple garden wrote to Mathur Babu saying that I was feeding the cat with the offering intended for the Divine Mother. But Mathur Babu had insight into the state of my mind. He wrote back to the manager, "Let him do whatever he likes. You must not say anything to him." To my Divine Mother I prayed only for pure love. I offered flowers at her lotus feet and prayed to her, "Mother, here is thy virtue, here is thy vice. Take them both and grant me only pure love for thee. Here is thy knowledge, here is thy ignorance. Take them both and grant me only pure love for thee. Here is thy purity, here is thy impurity. Take them both, Mother, and grant me only pure love for thee. Here is thy dharma, here is thy adharma. Take them both, Mother, and grant me only pure love for thee." Sri Ramakrishna had the explanation why Mother is dark. And he said, Mother looks dark because we see her from far. As the ocean looks dark, as the sky looks colored, because we see from far. If we go near and take water of the ocean in our hands, it is colorless. So is the Divine Mother, though we worship in the dark image, but in reality, she is colorless, formless, boundless, pure consciousness. Let me conclude today's guided meditation with a reading from Swami Vivekananda. Mother, I want nothing but knowledge and devotion. Swami Vivekananda said to the Divine Mother. One day the idea struck me that God listened to Sri Ramakrishna's prayers. So why should I not ask him to pray for me for the removal of my pecuniary wants? If ever the Mother would never deny me, I hurried to Dakshineshwar and insisted on his making an appeal on behalf of my starving family. He said, "My boy, I can't make such demands, but why don't you go and ask mother yourself? All your sufferings are due to your disregard of her." I said, "I do not know the mother. You speak to her on my behalf. You must." He replied tenderly, "My dear boy, I have done so again and again, but you do not accept her, so she does not grant my prayer. All right, it is Tuesday. Go to the Kali temple tonight, prostrate yourself before the mother, and ask her any boon you like. It shall be granted. She is knowledge absolute, the inscrutable power of Brahman, and by her mere will she has given birth to this world. Everything is in her power to give." I believed every word and eagerly waited for the night. About 9 o'clock, the master commanded me to go to the temple. As I went, I was filled with a divine intoxication. My feet were unsteady. My heart was leaping in anticipation of the joy of beholding the living goddess and hearing her word. I was full of the idea. Reaching the temple, as I cast my eyes upon the image, I actually found that the Divine Mother was living and conscious, full of divine love and beauty. I was caught in a surging wave of devotion and love. In an ecstasy of joy, I prostrated myself again before the mother and prayed, "Mother, give me discrimination, give me renunciation, give me knowledge and devotion. Grant that I may have an uninterrupted vision of Thee." A serene peace reigned in my soul. The world was forgotten. Only the Divine Mother shone within my heart. As soon as I returned, Sri Ramakrishna asked me if I had prayed to the Mother for the removal of my worldly wants. I was startled at this question and said, "No, sir, I forgot all about it. But is there any remedy now?" "Go again," said he, "and tell her about your wants." I again set out for the temple, but at the sight of the mother, forgot my mission, bowed to her repeatedly and prayed only for knowledge and devotion. The master asked if I had done it the second time. I told him what had happened. He said, "How thoughtless! Couldn't you restrain yourself enough to say those few words? Well, try once more and make the prayer to her, quick." I went for the third time, but on entering the temple, a terrible shame overpowered me. I thought, what a trifle have I come to pray to the Mother for? It is like asking a gracious king for a few vegetables. What a fool I am! In shame and remorse, I bowed to her respectfully and said, "Mother, I want nothing but knowledge and devotion. coming out of the temple. I understood that all this was due to Sri Ramakrishna's will. Otherwise, how could I fail in my object? 3 times I came to him and said, "Sir, it is you who have cast a charm over my mind and made me forgetful. Mother, please grant me the boon that my people at home may no longer suffer the pinch of poverty." He said, "Such a prayer never comes from my lips. I asked you to pray for yourself, but you couldn't do it. It appears that you are not destined to enjoy worldly happiness. Well, I can't help it." But I wouldn't let him go. I insisted on his granting that prayer. At last he said, "All right, your people at home will never be in want of plain food and clothing." That was Swami Vivekananda's experience of the Divine Mother at the temple of Dakshineshwar. What Sri Ramakrishna did through so much yearning and crying and rubbing his face to have the vision of Mother, even trying to give up his life, Swami Vivekananda got it just by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. He had the vision of leaving conscious Mother in the temple as soon as he went for the first time in his life. By the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, we can achieve everything. And when he said, that Swami Narendranath said that he couldn't ask for anything else other than devotion and knowledge, Sri Ramakrishna must have been very, very pleased. That is the purpose of an avatara. His advent is to grant us love and devotion, that we should seek that. That is the thing to be attained. That is the thing that is not found in the world. In the world, we get food and clothing and shelter just for survival of the body, for whatever few years we have of life in this world. But knowledge, devotion, detachment, peace, fearlessness, acceptance of the changes of nature, all this is granted by the divine power, Divine Mother. And Swami Vivekananda prayed that and prayed that alone. He couldn't ask for anything. Then, when we do not ask any worldly thing and ask only God, God comes to us. And when God comes to us, nothing remains to be achieved anymore. All our worldly wants are met by His grace. Yoga kshemam vahamyam. He grants us the thing that we need to survive and gives us what we seek for our spiritual progress, the devotion to God and knowledge of the self, Atma-jnana, and Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion. Let us pray to Sri Ramakrishna that He grants us devotion and purity of our heart and makes us true devotees of His. May we have absolute faith and trust in Him, because He is the incarnation of the Divine Mother, appearing as Sri Ramakrishna. What Swami Vivekananda that day felt, that Sri Ramakrishna and Mother Kali are just looked to, but they are one, an inseparable entity. May Sri Ramakrishna grant us devotion to Him, trust in Him. May we pray to Him with our full heart, full of purity and love. May we be able to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna, the incarnation for us. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Triambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om. Here ends the guided meditation.